of Everest. They go to base camp to acclimatize. And so about 40,000 people a year go to base camp. And so it's a popular trek that people do, and you try and climb to base camp. Now base camp is still, base camp is at 17,500 feet. So it's very, very high. The trek itself isn't difficult. It's not a difficult hike from the hikes that we do here. But it is 40 miles, so it's 40 miles from the base where you start to get to base camp, and then 40 miles back. So it's an 80-mile trek. So it is. But you're on average, you're supposed to be doing 6 miles a day. So it's not hard. 6 to 8 miles a day. But it's uphill.
We're going through the rolling Himalayas, so it's up and down.
Usually there's no snow.
It's not all uphill.
Yeah. So we picked the time we picked because the monsoon season is during the summer. It's supposed to be really rainy during the summer. In the spring is really good time to go, but there's a lot of trekkers in the spring, and that's when the actual climbers are actually going to climb Everest. They go in the spring as well. So when I was looking to do this, I didn't want to pick the spring, or I didn't pick the spring, because I didn't want to compete against all the actual climbers also going up there just for all those trekkers as well, to compete against them. So I picked the fall, and I picked early fall, so I tried to pick right after the monsoon season, but before the main trekking season for all the main trekkers. So we picked an early time to go, and the other thing I picked that is because it's also not a busy time for them, because it's the time we picked, it's not their busy season, and so I kind of figured that it would be nice because of air flights as well. So one of the problems with the planes, and I'll talk about this a little bit, but we fly into Kathmandu, and then from Kathmandu you have to fly to a little tiny airport called Lukla, and I'll show you videos or pictures of it. But Lukla is known as one of the most dangerous airports in the world. And it's because it's in the mountains. So, and I'll show you that. I guess we'll get to that in just a second. But you're flying to Lukla, and so the problem is most trekkers they can't fly straight from Kathmandu to Lukla. They have to fly, or they have to take a 5-hour bus trip to another little town. I don't even know what the name of it was called, but they take a 5-hour bus trip, and then they take a plane from there up. Well, I kind of thought if we go early in the season, the planes won't be as busy, and we'll try to at least get a direct flight from Kathmandu to Lukla.
Avoid that 5-hour bus ride.
Avoid the 5-hour bus ride.
Because it's not a bus ride on a freeway. It's a bus ride in dirt roads after the monsoon season.
Yeah.
So it's super slow, 20 miles an hour, mud, bumpy. It's horrendous. I watched a lot of videos beforehand, and just tons of people get really sick, motions, the
Car sickness,
and you're going for hours and hours. It's miserable.
And I'll tell you, that did work out for us because we were early. We got on a flight straight from Kathmandu to Lukla, and then my thoughts were, well, so then we'll be flying home during the real busy season. So we'll be on the mountain for the 14 days or 12 days is really what it is. And then when we're flying home, that's when everybody's going to be coming up to Lukla. So there's not going to be a lot of people trying to get out of Lukla because everybody's coming in. So hopefully there'll be flights available for us to get out of Lukla into Kathmandu, and that happened to us as well. We got a direct flight.
We got the only
direct flight.
Only direct flight.
Yeah, only direct flight. And so the plane is small. I'll show you that as well. But it's a small plane, and so we just. We got out of Lukla into Kathmandu on a direct flight.
Well, and something else I want to make sure you point out is one of the reasons why you want to choose, because after he did the research, then I was like, why did he do this? And one of the things that really appealed to me is I hate cold, and this is even though it's monsoon season, we're hitting the end of summer. Yeah. We're hitting right November and December is like really busy, and but it's also really cold.
Yeah.
And so it's the same summertime as us, and so you tend to hit less snow and cold weather if you go earlier in end of September, October. You almost never hit snow. Snow comes in November, December, and is the coldest time, so you almost never get snow. And I was like, if we can avoid snow, and we're like, and I was like, Tyler, should we bring our cleats, you know, for our shoes. No, you know, like, we don't need them. There's no snow. It's too early in the season. You don't ever get snow, this early in the season, and so it really appealed to me. I wanted to be in a tank top.
So we didn't bring our ice bikes or anything.
Yeah, we didn't bring
have
it.
that.
We weren't prepared for snow.
Yeah.
Tyler, tell us what made you decide to do this in the first place.
Made us do it in the first place.
Well, I honestly, I think it was like maybe a year and a half ago or something. I had a friend that saw some videos online about it, and so then just started researching it, and I thought, oh, that would be an awesome thing to do for our 50th birthdays. So
Before you get old, huh?
yeah, before we get too old, where we can't do it, let's do it for our 50th birthdays.
Why didn't Holly go?
We were trying to invite everybody. We were begging.
I would not have wanted to.
Oh, man. She should have. So, because we were turning 50, and so I wanted to do it for my 50th birthday, and so I had invited a lot of my friends that I graduated high school with. I thought it'd be a fun time to get back together with a lot of my friends and go do this.
And all of them said, maybe. Oh,
All of them were like, oh, yeah, baby. And I was like, I'm going for sure. And so I signed up a year ago, January, I signed up to do this. But I think the week before I signed up, maybe just a couple days before I signed up, I thought, I wonder if Jimmy and Jason would do it. And so I sent them a text message, hey, do you guys want to go to Everest Base Camp? And honestly, within 24 hours, both of them said, yes, we're in. Both of them were just, yes, we're in, and we're going. And so then, I think the next day, I signed up.
And
Because
then
I was like,
soon after.
I was like, I'm gonna sign up right now because I just needed a commitment from someone that I was gonna, and then I was gonna do it. I wanted to do it.
And I just had fear of missing out, so.
Me too.
Jason had to go.
Jimmy lives by FOMO.
Yeah, like,
If Holly was a boy, she would be up there.
Yep, she can go as a girl too. And notice, attempt number 1. Thanks to Barrett.
Yeah,
Put that in
Jason.
there. We're gonna do it again, Holly.
Okay, I'll get ready.
What's that?
Income
It is always open, so people, you can go year round, and people do it year round. During the summer, it's just rainy the whole time though, and they say if you go during the summer, during the monsoon seasons, you usually don't get to see Everest because it's cloud covered, and then you're hiking up in the rain. Not that it wasn't raining when we were there too, it was rainy most of the days, but at least we can get views. And this is a picture I took of Everest. So this is Everest right here. And I don't think I show any other pictures of it, but we did get to see Everest twice, at 2 different locations as well. Probably more than that if we were looking back, but at least twice we stopped and looked at Everest and took pictures of it.
Doesn't look that far.
Yeah, it's on the whole way up, we never saw Everest. So the whole way up into our snow.
Clouds and rain or what?
Clouds and rain the whole time going up. And it wasn't until we started coming back down that that the weather kind of cleared up and we saw Everest.
Is there like a mountain here and then
Yes.
it's a mountain behind it?
Yes.
Everest
So
is
this
a
is
mountain
different
behind
one.
it.
Oh, okay.
And the weird thing is, I don't think I show it. I might show some in this slideshow here, but there's just so many more mountains around it. As you're going up there, you just can't believe that there's mountains higher than these, because you're going up and you're seeing these huge mountains next to you, and they just look so giant. And it's hard to believe that Everest is taller than those.
Yeah.
But because you're closer to them, they just look giant.
And they are.
And they are.
Compared to
They're
the,
big.
compared to the US ones,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're at the base camp and we're higher than any mountain in the continental
Yes.
United States.
Yeah.
Base camp is higher than every mountain. So.
And you're still looking at the mountains like this.
Yes, you're both looking straight up.
Yeah. So it is.
What's the highest mountain in the United States?
Oh, well, the highest mountain in Utah is Kings Peak, which is 13,500. So 13,500. So I did that this summer as well, just to practice for this. But that was the highest that I had ever been in my life, is 13,500. I don't think these two had ever done even Kings Peak to ever even go up that high. And so the problem is, none of us really knew what altitude is gonna be like.
We have
because
flown in airplanes though with much higher.
Because we can't get the altitude until we know what the altitude's gonna be like. And so we don't know how our body's gonna react to altitude, and that was one of the problems that we did have, is altitude.
All of you guys?
Well, Jason and I well, I don't even know about Jason. Jason probably didn't even have altitude sickness.
Oh.
Well, I don't know,
I'll talk
they were
about
up
it.
all night sick,
Yeah.
but then we don't.
Jason
was it-
had morning
was it food
sickness.
poisoning? It's hard to know the difference between food poisoning and altitude sickness.
All four of us
They're
got
very similar.
sick, all four of us got sick and were throwing up.
No, mine was definitely altitude sickness. I feel like, but those two, they were-
Jason most likely had gluten.
Yeah, for sure I did.
Well, he had gluten for sure. So we just don't know if it was gluten or if it was altitude. It was
But I think
gluten.
the altitude made the gluten worse.
Yeah, you get the nausea going.
Not
the
the
chain
eating
reaction.
probably didn't help either.
So let me get through this a little bit and we'll, because a lot of these stories will come out in this little show, it's a show of pictures. Is that?
Who's the person?
Is that Jimmy?
Okay, so on our way there, our first flight, we flew from Salt Lake to Seattle. And then from Seattle, we flew to Doha, Qatar. Also, Doha is also, I mean, it's one of the world's richest countries. I think, so this was our guide. When we got to Doha, we didn't know, we didn't have any plans at all. We just said, oh, let's go get an Uber.
We just had an overnight at the airport.
Yeah, we had,
And-
wasn't even an overnight. We were
It was
there
during
for
the
like,
day.
from 6 p.m. to
We were like, we don't
midnight
want
or
to sit in
something.
an airport all day, we're in a new country.
So we went, got an Uber, and we just had him take us to the town square, the main area.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing.
And so we get to the main area downtown, we didn't know anybody, didn't have any plans, and we meet this guy, and he's like, oh, I'm a guide, if you guys are looking for a tour, and we're like, sure, like, how much do you charge? And he says, oh, I'll take you around Doha for 4 hours for $25 a person. We're like, well,
We're
sold.
like, how did you know we were tourists?
So we just met this guy, and he was
Just in the town square walking around.
he is a tour guide. He is a tour guide. Oh yeah, this is Anna, Jimmy's girlfriend Anna. So
The reason she's not here is, she was planning on coming, but we spent since Thanksgiving moving in together. So, the last 3 days, we've been cleaning our apartments, moving out, it's been
And she's
insane.
seen all she can of him. She's
Yeah,
like,
she's got 2 young kids and a teenager, and she's pretty overwhelmed, and I'm like, I'm not missing this no matter what. I understand that you can't, but I'm coming, and so I just ditched her. And
But-
Anna also had just given birth 7
Yes.
months before that.
yes, she had a baby. Was it December?
yeah.
In December, she gave birth. So this is why I'm saying everybody can do this, right? Anna did this. She just gave birth 7 months before, and she's there with us, doing the whole
Plus
thing.
graduating from nursing school.
Yeah, going to school.
She just barely graduated from going to school full time. You know, had a surrogate baby and 3 kids. And then a new boyfriend on top of that. So I'm the most needy part of all those things. But we had only been dating for maybe 3 months, 2 or 3 months when Tyler reached out to me and I just said I'm going. I didn't ask anybody. You know, there's nobody to ask when you're single, right? You're like, we'd only been dating a few months. We barely became exclusive, and so it was a new thing. And so after a couple of months, Tyler was like, man, I cannot get anybody to go. And I'm like, are we wanting anybody? Like, and he's like, I don't care. I just want to get more people if we can. And I'm like, well, I know Anna was always a big hiker before her marriage, her last marriage. And she's looking forward to hiking all summer. And so I threw it out to her. I said, what do you think? And so she's like, yeah, let's hike all summer and get ready. And so while she's trying to graduate, and when she was hiking when she was pregnant through the winter, and
She probably had.
the only problem is they didn't really hike. Tyler and I trained our butts off, while these guys just went
Went for a
canoeing.
walk.
we went on paddleboards.
They're like, we're paddleboarding. We're working out.
We did some tougher hikes. We did
Yes,
Timpanogos.
a 2-year-old went for it.
Yeah, I had a 3-year-old on my shoulders.
But so Qatar is kind of like Las Vegas. It's very ritzy, very, very nice, one of the world's richest countries. And there's only, this is how I tell it at least, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is what our guide told us. I think there's only 2 million Qatari citizens. And all Qataris are millionaires because of all the oil.
Natural gas.
From natural gas.
Natural
From
gas.
natural gas. So they're all millionaires. So they don't do anything. They don't do any construction work. They don't even do any work. They're just millionaires, and then they pay people to do all the work. And so you have all these people. I think she was from Bangladesh, if I remember right.
Yep.
You have all these people that come in and do all the work. And I think there were 5 million people there that were just workers that just worked for the Qataris. And so you have all these people there, you know, I mean, it was just
And
fun.
tell
but
about the
really-
crime there.
No crime at all. And one of the reasons he said is no crime. He says, oh, you can leave your bag anywhere. And he says, it'll be here tomorrow if you left it here. He says, no, don't touch it. Because he says all the Qataris are so rich, they don't want your stuff. And all the workers are scared of getting deported.
Any little.
lose your job.
You
They don't want
shoplift,
their
you
jobs.
like anything, you do
Yep.
anything, you're immediately deported.
So
No
he says,
questions
so they
asked.
say it's the safest country in the world because no one dares, so all the workers won't do anything because they don't wanna get deported, and all the Qataris don't need your stuff, and so
But
it's the
other
safest country in the
tourists
world.
would.
Maybe, yeah, well, maybe other tourists, but he really told us, he says, you can leave your bags here and they'll be here tomorrow. So-
But they have so much money, they build these huge skyscrapers that sit empty.
Yep.
They're just
They don't even get
big
used.
empty.
Because most of them are at least halfway.
Not just the skyscrapers, all the
All the
housing.
Housing, all the apartment
all
complexes.
apartment complexes.
And they
are all
burn
empty.
the natural gas just to air condition the outdoors.
But they also said that it was a place for them to put their money too. All of them have so much money that they build property and build buildings and stuff, so they're part owners of it, and it gives them a place to park their money, even if it's not getting rented
I
out.
don't know if you have any videos, but I do have videos of Qatar.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to go on my YouTube,
Oh, sure.
they literally build islands because they ran out of land. And so they just concrete, whatever, build an island that completely fake, and then build malls and things on top of the island just to expand the land.
Sorry, Amy, that's a bad picture of you,
Oh,
but.
God.
It's the only one I have.
Yeah, eating the restaurant there.
So when we first talked to our guide, we said, well, one of the things that we want to do is eat. And he said, oh, come to this restaurant. He says, this is a famous, really good restaurant, and it's kind of in the area we're at. And so he just sat us down at this restaurant, an outdoor restaurant.
And it was all these little, yeah.
The kebabs.
Shish kebabs. Tons and tons of different kinds of shish kebabs.
It was so good.
Anna's a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Except she ate it. She had to try it all.
Yeah.
She tried meat every single kind. She's like, this is a once in a lifetime. It's an exception. I'm gonna try meat of every single kind.
So this is Qatari.
I don't know if I should tell on her.
It was great. So we had a great time. And then our guide, is what he did, so we had like 3 hours probably, and he's like, I'll just take you to 3 or 4 places. And he says, we'll just drive to a place, get out and see it, we'll jump in the car and drive to another place and get out and see it. And so he just drove us around to all the major places in Qatar. And then it worked out great because he did this, and then at the end, he just took us right back to the airport where we need to go anyway, and we're gonna have to
We
pay
would have had to
for
pay for an Uber
an
anyway.
Uber anyway, so, we paid $25 and went on this little tour of Qatar. So, yes, this was,
It's called Little Venice.
yeah.
They built their own little mimic Venice, and they said like 60% of it had nobody living in it. Yeah, they said the price, they keep the rent incredibly high, the prices for all the hotels incredibly high. They don't want people that don't have money to come live there. They keep it high intentionally. They'd rather have it empty than lower the price.
So is this like a vacation spot? Is it nice?
It's very nice. I don't know.
It's a lot of business.
I would guess it's vacation for maybe Middle Easterns, the people that can afford it or something,
Yeah.
but.
All right, let's put it this way, when I was in the airport, I accidentally peed on the seat just a little bit. They had this guy that stand up there and he immediately grabbed it and went and wiped it off for me. I know-
Dead serious.
No, they have a guy that will seriously like wipe the seat, as soon as you're done, he just like.
They
there,
stand outside of the stall waiting
waiting
for you to finish.
yes.
Like I open the door and there's a guy standing there with a cleaner, a brush, and like I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? Like,
Do you pee with the seat down?
Even.
I put the seat down.
I'm not talking airport bathroom, but
in
still.
town, but the airport is.
So in town too, I didn't show that, but, so we went to, there was 2 outdoor malls that he took us to. We go to both the outdoor malls, and they had air conditioning running down the sidewalk, blowing out into the mall. So they were just air conditioning the outside as you're walking down the outside of the mall. It was crazy. It was insane.
Was it hot?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was, we were there, so it was in the evening, and I think it was 92 degrees
Yep.
and high humidity, so it was very warm there. Okay, so That's that. Okay, so then from Qatar, we fly to Kathmandu. So we get to Kathmandu, and this is just a picture I took of my hotel room in Kathmandu. So
Yeah, it was really nice.
really nice, and they weren't that nice of hotels. They were kind of lower class hotels, I would say. It was $60 a night, but they were really nice, at least for our standards. We felt like they were really nice. Well, I know the guy in my ward, he said, I don't know where he was staying, that he didn't like the hotel so much that he went and got a Marriott. But this is where we stayed, and I thought it was really nice. So I just
Probably
wanted
nicer than
to-
expected.
Yeah. So while we were there, so when we planned our trip, we got 2 days in Kathmandu before the trip and 2 days after the trip in Kathmandu. So we paid for an extra night each way, just so we could spend a little more time in Kathmandu.
Kathmandu is the same altitude as we are.
As here, yeah, yep, about 4,800.
So people that come from a low altitude even have to.
But it's the same latitude as like Miami, Florida, so it's
Pretty warm.
pretty warm.
Yeah. So it's really cool. But so one of the things that we did when we were there, we asked, or we paid for a tour. So we went on a tour of Kathmandu. And our tour, I mean, it was really funny. I think I have a video of our tour guide, and he's just really funny the way he talks, trying to talk English.
Oh, dogs.
Yes, that was why I threw this in here. So one of the things that we did on our tour was we went to what's called the Monkey Temple. And the Monkey Temple is, it's just a temple, a Buddhist temple, and they just let tons of monkeys run around and eat. And I think I have a,
You have my video? That's
The dogs.
that's going to the top.
The dogs.
How steep those stairs, endless stairs there. A good prep.
Yeah,
And
those
you
monkeys are
saw
cool.
the ones that- Let's go.
They walk up that one. Okay, Bagman Everest.
yeah, we're getting practice here. Oh, that's it.
Jimmy barely made it up those stairs,
Yeah.
I knew he was gonna have trouble.
So,
Say
Jimmy?
that again, Jim.
He's just teasing me. Tell him.
So just a lot of monkeys all over the place. I didn't really get pictures of the top, like the actual temple itself. There, at the very top, there's a temple and there's.
Monkeys aren't dangerous?
You just
The
look
monkeys-
at them eyes.
The monkeys aren't dangerous, except that they say that if you look at them, they might, I don't know.
Especially
might
ones
jump
that
on
have
you.
kids.
But they did, like, they would grab your bags thinking you had food and stuff. They would try and grab you. but-
Somebody got their grocery bag thrown out right in
Just
front of
don't
me
look
and
at the
my food
monkeys.
taken. A lady that was just right next to me. They tore it out and started taking the food.
So this is driving in Kathmandu. And this is, I think, where you hear the tour guide talking. I think he's let me see if that works.
On the way, you will see one, the supermarket also second fire during the Gen Z protest.
So there's really no traffic laws, all just tons of motorcycles.
It is said, it is said that the owner of the supermarket is also involving in one of the political parties. He is getting money from the leaders, the corruption, the money from the corruption is investing.
So the bigger your car, the more right of way you have. That's kind of how it works. So then the other funny thing is, so we went to that monkey temple
So real quick, he was
Yeah.
talking about how what happened
during the
like
rioting.
a few weeks prior to.
Yeah. Goes-
So like a few weeks prior to us getting there, the government was overthrown. The prime minister banned social media. All the youth revolted, and so they burned down the Parliament building. They burned down the Supreme Court. They burned down the Hilton
Supermarket.
Hotel,
The
the
Hilton Hotel.
supermarket.
Just places that they had connections to bribes.
Yeah.
That were bribing the politicians, there was.
Their
connections-
supermarket though got burned down. The Hilton Hotel, which was like a, I don't know, 50-story hotel or something, got burned
So there was a
down.
lot of burnt buildings in town because that's when they
Yeah.
revolted, they burned it all down.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Make
just
you nervous
and the-
knowing that ahead of time?
No.
Is that what happened here on this slide? Cause there's smoke here.
No.
it's-
This was another, just a crazy thing that we just didn't know what we were getting into on this tour. So one of the weird things they took us to is this Buddhist temple, but it's where they cremate all their bodies. So any-
It's Hindu, I think.
Oh, Hindu,
Yeah.
yeah. So the Hindus, whenever they die, within 24 hours, they have to cremate the body. And so they take them to this temple, and it's the only place, I think, in Kathmandu that does it. But they bring the body in here and they put the body on a bunch of wood and they burn the body. And so it's just a big thing of wood and they burn the body. And so then, and actually on the other side, I don't think I show it on
So
here.
you're seeing bodies in different stages of.
Yeah,
Yes.
we did. We saw some people mourning and crying.
And so
over their
on,
bodies
behind
at the
us
very
here,
end.
they actually bring the body down to the river, and as part of their custom is they wash the body in the river first. They wash the body in the river, and then they bring them over here, and then they burn the body. And then what do they do with it?
They shovel into the river.
Shovel it in the river,
And what are
right?
those people doing in that river?
See, there's some people out here in the river.
What are they doing?
They
have rakes.
Looking for gold.
looking for gold.
They're looking for jewelry from the
Oh,
bodies.
you're like, oh, it's so
And I'm like,
sad.
I even asked the guy, I was like, they're okay with this? Like, isn't it, and they're like, once it's burned, it's done. They don't have it.
And then it just goes into the river, and where else it goes, you know, they're down the river, they're taking baths in it probably, I don't know.
Did the guide say they found?
Oh, I'm sure they were, they wouldn't be in there if they're not, yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know, we didn't ask. It's too gross.
Yeah, we were on a bridge right here, so it's, you know, kind of far away from.
You did have some of Russell's ashes with you.
Yes, I
Yes.
didn't, and that's where I got my little,
Burn.
the urn for his ashes, as I bought it at a little trinket shop near here, and put it in my bag and took it with me.
So, and then the guy took us to another temple, and we're like, oh, we're just temple mountains, they all look the same.
Yeah, they are.
And so we're like, oh, this is so boring. And so then we told our guide, oh, we're done, and we didn't even care. I don't even know what else he had going on for the rest of the day, if he was supposed to take us other places, but we just finished our tour after the next one.
Y'all look the same.
Yeah, and he's just overloading us with information, nonstop telling us everything that you can ever wanna know about
The Hindus,
all these
Buddhists.
temples and like the different signs and everything, and we're just like, and he has that really thick accent, and as and we're just like, we got to the point where it's like,
All right, we're good, we're
we're
good.
walking around.
Can you take us back?
And what I learned is that the Buddhists and the Hindus, they have a lot of beliefs, but they don't really know why they believe a lot of things they believe. They're traditions that have been passed down. They do things certain ways or dress certain ways, and they don't really know why. That's just what they do.
And they're very intermixed,
Yeah.
like, there's really hardly any difference between Hindus and
He
Buddhists.
showed us temples where, like, areas where it was like both the Buddhist and the Hindu had some, you know, statue or whatever to show that they're, you know, working together, like they're not enemies. You know, they're very friendly to both sides.
Tyler, do you have any pictures of the Kumari?
No.
Okay, that's kind of interesting.
So I do, but I didn't put them in here. But so Jason mentions this Kumari, who is she a Buddhist or Hindu? I don't know. Buddhist, like a Buddhist goddess, and it's like it's a child that they pick. And they worship this child until the child really has their first period, and then once they have the period,
They're no longer a goddess.
they're no longer goddess. They go back into the public and then they pick a new Kumari to worship. And it's just, so while we were there, we went to the Kumari's house. The guy took us to the Kumari's house, which was just a tourist thing, so we're walking around there. And while we were there, the Kumari, twice a day comes out through the window. What's that? Might come out, they just come to the window twice a day to look outside from 15 to 30 seconds, I think it is. And if you see the Kumari, it's good luck.
Yeah.
Well, while we happened to be there, we saw the Kumari, and so we had good luck.
And it was her last.
It was our last time.
Her last day.
Oh yeah. While we were on Everest, we found out
She got her period.
she got her period, and got released as a Kumari. And they picked a new Kumari while we were on Everest. So maybe we didn't get good luck. I don't know.
Her luck stopped working.
Your luck stopped working.
Yeah.
How old are they when they get picked?
2 years old, 2 to 3
They
years.
take the girl from her family. She lives there until she has her period. She's only allowed to leave the house 8 times per year. She's not allowed to put her feet on the ground. If she does leave, they carry her in a golden chariot.
Yep. And so we saw the golden chariot.
And before she's picked, they sacrifice 108 animals in the courtyard, and then she's got to spend the night in the courtyard with the animal heads to prove that she's brave before she's chosen. As a 2 or 3 year old, yes.
And that's how they pick the Kumari.
But I did find out one key point that made me feel a little bit better about the sacrifices,
Yeah.
because my understanding
Oh,
of
yes,
sacrifices
you did.
is, you know, you're burning the animal, right? Well, I was like, that seems like, with all the poverty here, it's like, just we're walking around everywhere else, third world country. Everything is shacks, the smells and everything is like, I'm like, you're wasting that many animals. Like, oh no, we have a big barbecue.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so basically it's a barbecue and they celebrate the Kamar. Like, they eat all the animals. Yeah, so they sacrifice the animal, but then they eat it all.
Yeah.
So it's not a,
So that shish kebab that you ate, who knows?
So from there, so that's Kathmandu. So from Kathmandu, we fly to Lukla, which is the first town you fly to. And this is the plane that we fly to Lukla in. So one of the things that you do when you're as part of this trek is they give you a bag. So these blue bags, ours are actually yellow, you'll see them. Oh, here's one of ours, but that's not actually one of ours. I see it says North Face on it. But these blue bags, all the trekkers get a blue bag. And that's what your porter's gonna carry. So on this plane, they limit you to 33 pounds. So everything you're gonna carry, everything you're bringing is 33 pounds or less. And the porter supposedly will carry 22 pounds of stuff, which means your backpack, you're allowed to bring 11 pounds of stuff. And so when we're trying to pack up, Jason and I were like all trying to pack up, and we're like down to our bare minimum. And then we go downstairs to the bottom of our hotel and we weigh our bags, and they're 40 pounds. We're like, 40 pounds!
oh, it was rough.
Yeah, so then we go back up and we start dumping all of our gear. And so then
I was
we,
like shaving his toothbrush handle.
you know, but I like dumped half my clothes, so I brought 2 pair of pants. I'm wearing the pants that I wore, so I brought 2 pair of pants. I brought 2 shirts. I can't remember if I brought 2 shirts. But you're just dumping all of your stuff.
I had a full duffel bag of stuff I left
Yes.
at the hotel.
Right,
because
right.
Well, they didn't weigh us, so we were also stuffing
Oh,
our
yeah.
pockets.
Do you guys remember what I was dressed like? I had these pants, right? And I have zipper pockets, and I have pockets. I had bulges here, all my granola bars, my pockets, every pocket. And then we get there, and we're going in, and they're like, "Okay, throw your bags. You have to walk through this." This section, and I'm like, and I'm like, all my battery packs, my chargers, I'm like, and so they all just burn through, and I'm like trying to get, my pants are falling out because I had so much stuff in my pants. And then my guy comes over, just go through. Like, I was halfway done. He's like, just go through, and it beeps. And they don't even care. Like, our guide was like, everybody knew our guide. He just told the security guys what to. Even when we were leaving, he's like, he just runs down, tells the security, and the security guys, oh, and he just pushes us through. Everybody else is getting their bags checked, things pulling out, they're getting sent back, and we're like, my guy goes and yells at him, and we're just pushed through, and I had so much stuff because I cannot.
We were making fun of Jimmy because he's like trying to take out all this stuff, and we just both walked through and no one even did anything.
I had so much stuff.
And then we're like, Jimmy, just go through, they don't care. He's all trying to take out his stuff.
I had so much stuff.
Yep, he did bring a little bit of extra stuff.
I had a lot.
But so because of that, we were limited to just like very few clothes. So like Jimmy's wearing this shirt. He brought one of his shirts that he's wearing.
Yep, he's like thin.
So one of the things that we did, because we couldn't bring hardly any clothes either, after like during the trek, we didn't have any clothes, right? And we're just like running out of clothes. So we, at one of the towns I'll show you to here in a second, we went into town and we bought a whole bunch of extra clothes. So we're buying pants and shirts and stuff, and so then we're just like throwing it in our big bag, our porter bag, and like, sorry porter, but we're getting more clothes now. We're just buying more stuff there because we needed clothes.
Yeah, and if they hadn't, I'm glad they limited us.
Yeah.
Because our bags were pretty loose and there was quite a bit of room in our big duffel bags. And we're like, this seems like a waste. Why give us these big duffel bags if we can't even put stuff in it? But as soon as we got to Lukla, and then all the other towns have started acquiring all the stuff that we were getting, by the time we were coming down the mountain, the poor porter is going, oh, and they're jamming, like we're sitting on it and rustling the zipper closed because we have so many souvenirs and extra clothes and things like
And
that.
they also felt like they had to help the economy. too.
Yeah.
They're buying everything.
We have to help the economy too.
Things are so much cheaper,
Yeah.
you know, we're like, taking advantage.
So our whole trek,
Did your stuff stay dry in the porter bags?
yes. So I'll show it to you, but they would cover it too. So when it would rain, they would actually cover it. The bags were waterproof bags already, but they would cover their bags too.
Okay.
So they were waterproof. Now,
You said to me that once you got wet, you stayed
Yeah, now
wet.
we got.
yeah. Well, mostly because our own clothes, your clothes, either you're sweating a lot, so your clothes you get wet from sweat. And just, the problem is it just,
Humidity.
yeah, and it was humid, so you would never dry. So you'd get to your place that night and you just could never dry out. We'd hang our clothes up in our rooms or out our windows and it just never dried. So it's just, that's why we needed to buy more stuff because we just couldn't get our clothes to dry. And so we
But
either,
the new stuff you bought would not be wet?
well, not really, because we were buying these, like, these
Really
type of
thin,
shirts.
breathable things,
Yeah, these quick dry shirts. And they were just much better than the clothes we were bringing, I would guess.
So did they weigh less than like half a pound?
Yeah, well, the
These dry
problem,
fit clothes.
yeah, I mean, yeah, not much, but, and we would, I mean, so I think I bought 2 shirts and 1 pair of pants.
We
is
always
what
try
I
to
bought.
keep a dry pair of clothes in our bag, so as soon as we got to the new place, we take off our wet clothes, we usually get in our sleep bag for a half hour and warm up, and then put dry clothes on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, so this is just our flight. So I will say real fast, just like researching this, we're trying to figure out, you know, like which company to take or, you know, who to pay, you know, which tour guide or tour company to go with. And there was a lot of them and everything, I mean, I just felt like when I was looking up the prices, everything was really cheap. That all the prices were really good. The first one I looked at was $1,500 for a whole trip. And that includes all of your food, your housing, a porter and a guide. Porter carrying all your stuff and a guide for $1,500. Now, just researching it, I found them as low as $1,000.
So you had a separate porter for each person?
One porter carried 2 bags, 2 22-pound bags. I'll show you that, I think, the next slide. But so one porter would carry 2 bags. So then, and I saw it all went to maybe $3,000 as well. I ended up picking the one I picked because they had the most reviews. They had over 3,000 reviews, and I just felt like, and they'd been in business for over 17 years, and I felt like they have a lot of reviews, so they've been around a long time, which means they probably know people. They know, you know, they're on the trail constantly, and so that's why I picked this one that I ended up picking. And it did help us out a lot because the guides knew everybody, everywhere we went to, the guides knew just owned the place because they'd been there every week probably for the last 20 years. And even like the airports, you know, just like talking to security. Hey, these are the guys from America or something. I don't even know what he's telling them, but let them through and we would just go through. And so I mean, honestly, it was that good, like with security. Like there's one place, the guy was supposed to be checking our passports and I think he wrote down our names and it was like, okay, go through. And we're like running through the
Well,
magnetic
even the direct flight from it was solely because of the company. There was only one flight. Yeah, they came to Kathmandu and picked us up and flew us in, but we're the only ones that got on that direct flight because of their connections. And so everybody else is doing that 5-hour drive. Our group is the only one that got on that one flight.
What do they angle that runway?
Yeah, so that's taking off.
This is why I say it was
Uphill.
the most dangerous airport in the world. So one of the things they say with this airport is there's no second chances. So the plane takes off, or it crashes, or it lands and doesn't because it doesn't have a second chance. You take off.
There's a mountainside behind
A
us.
15-degree angle downhill, so you go downhill to take off and you land uphill.
And it's shorter than legally allowed. Yeah, that's why.
This is our plane taking off after we got off of it. So,
20 feet before.
They're landing on the change strip?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, coming from the bottom, landing uphill.
Right, and then, yeah, and one of the, like, they say it's legally too short of a runway, that's why they consider it one of the most dangerous. The pilots have to be trained for and certified for this airport. No, not any pilot can just land there. Because of the extra short runway, you're, you know, it's.
They have to practice on air,
I bet Mac was
one of the boats.
Yeah, aircraft carrier, or not, yeah, an aircraft carrier. So this here is our porter, I just threw this in here to show this is my porter, Jason's porter. So here's our porter, and he's a small guy, he's probably 5'4" or something, really short guy. He's older, he's probably 40,
Like the size of Jason.
But, and then he's got our 2 bags, and then his own bag on top. And I don't know what he's carrying underneath here, but this is our porter carrying his stuff. Here's just a couple other porters. So how do they get stuff up the mountain? They carry it, right? That's where it is. Yeah, so if you want a soda, you want a Coke up there, that's how it's getting up there.
Their porters are carrying on
I don't
top of
know.
the other stuff they're bringing?
Probably dog food or something, I'm not even sure. Here's another one. So notice he's got 2 bags on there, plus all this stuff, you
Do we all
know?
have a cane or trekking stick?
Yes.
Some of them do.
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
It's kind
How
of,
much is he carrying?
they lean forward and they strap it around their head.
I don't know. I think they get paid by the amount of weight they carry. So they weigh it beforehand and they get paid by the amount they're carrying. So that's why they're carrying as much as possible, as much as the guy can carry. You know, he probably says, oh, I can carry 80 pounds or whatever, and they load him up to 80
The
pounds.
bottom is a base dip.
Yeah.
Has any of them fallen off the trail?
What's that?
Has any of them fallen off the
Oh,
trail?
probably. I don't know.
You didn't see any?
The top porters will carry 200 pounds.
So this is all empty water bottles. For some reason, we kept seeing them carrying empty water bottles up the hill.
Up the mountain.
Yeah, up the hill. And we're like, why are they carrying empty water bottles up the hill? And like, oh, that's where they recycle them at. Didn't make sense to us, but they were always carrying water bottles up the hill.
They refill them.
That's what we're like, yeah, they're refilling them and reselling
And
them.
then selling to us as bottled water.
I'm not sure.
What the glacier fresh?
So you have these tons of bridges. This is Anna and Jimmy coming across the bridge with the guide. What's that? That's flags. They're just important. I don't know.
I gotta tell you, this first bridge that Anna was on, she was so scared. She was like, just barely crossing it, and then I turned around and there was this little Nepalese boy that was just jumping
Maybe 6 or 7? Like just bouncing up and down, having a great time scaring the crap out of her. She's walking along.
I should have put that in there.
And then he gave her a flower.
Yeah, he gave her a flower when she got to the end. This is the tallest one. This is,
Yeah.
down below is the bungee jumping. They weren't running it. I wanted to do it.
Bungee jumping off the bridge.
Easy to say now.
But what was this bridge called? It was
The Hillary Bridge.
Hillary Bridge. Yeah, he's the first one to mount.
So the second town we got to, so after you get to Lukla, you hike for 2 hours or so. I think I can't remember how far it is. We go to the first town, and then we spent the night there. And then the second town we get to is called Namche Bazaar.
And it was a pretty difficult hike, that second one. The first one, not a big deal. This one in Namche, I was really surprised, especially towards the end, how unmaintained the trail is.
Yeah.
Like with how many people, it was really primitive, like really steep, a lot of mud, not a lot of stairs and stuff.
Well, you
For the
can't tell if
first
it's
half.
mud or if it's yak poop. It's something.
Yeah, like, but it just was not maintained well. It was very rough. And I watched a lot of YouTube videos to prepare myself. That's how I prepared. And apparently, they're only videoing when they can actually breathe and they can talk, because all the steep, crazy stuff is not on any of the videos. There's a lot of, it reminded me a lot of Timpanogos, if you've ever hiked Timpanogos. Really rough, really straight up in a lot of places. Very difficult in some areas.
Well, just stair after stair after stair, just stairs all over the
Right.
place.
The first half actually had real stairs though, but that last bit, I mean, it was just
Were you just climbing on rocks?
No, it's mostly dirt and mud.
Yeah. a lot of it is kind of stairs. So this here's Namche Bazaar, and it's one of the bigger towns, the biggest town for sure on the mountain. So this is where they tell you that this is the last place you can eat meat as well. Anywhere above this you can't eat meat because everything's hiked in there, backpacked in.
And then no electricity.
And or there is electricity,
Solar,
but
it's just
yeah,
like, it's not
just
like
Meat's
limited.
rotten by
no
the time
free.
it's cooked.
What's that?
So the meat's rotten by the time. it's
Yes, and we did see people
There's no
eating meat above
animals.
this, but we were told by our guide to not eat meat past this. But in this town, there's also a lot of little markets along here. This is
Oh,
where we
really
bought
cool.
our gear, our extra gear and stuff, and trinkets and souvenirs. Here's where the Everest View Hotel. So at the top of one of the hills above Namche Bazaar, I can't remember, it's like 2 or 3 mile hike up to there. Then you go up here, and you're supposed to be able to see Everest from this hotel they built on the top of
It
the
wasn't
mountain.
a 2 or 3 mile hike, this was a big.
Well, I think it
It
was
was like
probably
a 6, it was the,
maybe
it
6
was the
miles total, maybe
acclimatation
3
hike,
up.
and it went forever.
3 up and 3 back, maybe.
No, it was not 3, it was like 6, one way. It was like 6 or 7. It was like, it was, and see.
No
okay,
way.
No, seriously, this is a hotel.
Jimmy's getting mad.
No, I'm serious. That's what they told us. I was thinking, okay, this is, we're going to a hotel, right? We're gonna go sit and have a drink and see, and look at the mountain and see Everest. We're gonna just go up. It's the acclimatization day, easy little hike up to a hotel. The only way to get to the hotel is to hike there. And I'm like, oh, so it's not gonna be a big hike. Few miles, no big deal. And it's at the beginning, it's a lot of switchbacks, and it's steep, but it's switchbacks, and it's not bad. But there's a lot of people on it. But then we're getting close to the end of the switchbacks, and we're getting what feels like close to the top of the mountain. And it's probably at that point 2 or 3 miles, getting close to the top of the mountain. Then we see in the distance a building. We're like, that must be the hotel. And so it's still pretty steep, but it's muddy, no more stairs, no more switchbacks. It's been raining a lot. And by the time we get to this building, we're like, oh, we're finally here. And it is a coffee shop. And maybe an inn, like maybe it's a tea house.
Yeah, tea house.
It's like a little tiny tea house, and like, you can get a pastry here, a donut or something. We're like, wait a second, what about at the hotel? And our guide's like, no, it's still another couple of miles. And it's not as steep, but it's like going around the side of the top of the mountain and in the fog, and we're hiking for another couple miles. It was a much more difficult hike than I anticipated. And then you have to get back down.
This is up there. This is what he's talking about.
Yeah, this is after you get to the top. You're just hiking along the side, so it's fairly straight.
Anyway, that's just an acclimation hike, and then you spend 2 nights in Namche Bazaar. So that was just the day you're spending in Namche Bazaar.
Is that when you first got sick? That
No, that's.
And to us, this isn't very high.
Yeah,
Namche Bazaar was only, I think it was 9,000 feet. As Namche Bazaar is only 9,000. Up to here is 12,000. So you're going up 3,000 feet for that day,
Yeah,
and then
so
going back down.
He's saying it's 3,000 feet of elevation is not short.
But it's stuff we were doing here all the time.
Right, it is.
And so for us, even 9,000 feet's not that high. That's like going up.
But they
to
do
a
say the
Uintas.
average person coming from sea
Correct.
level typically gets sick at Namche Bazaar. That's the first time
That's
they
why
start
they
to
have
feel it.
that.
That's right.
That's why they have.
That's
that,
right.
because-
Most people get sick there because they're up in elevation.
But for us, it wasn't.
So you don't have to take this, you can hike at sea level and take this.
Yes.
But it's very difficult.
Yes,
Yes.
A lot of people, most people do.
So how did they get wood up there to build things? They have a porter carrying it up, right?
So why there's so many people?
So this here is one of our tea houses and one of our beds. So we stayed in tea houses the whole time. We weren't staying in tents or anything. We're in tea houses. Tea houses have a main common area where they serve food. They have a common table where you get order food and stuff. And then you go to your room, so it's kind of like a hotel, but in your room is just 2 beds.
And then no heat.
No heat. So everywhere's and we're there supposedly in the warm season, and it was cold. Like, I mean, we were down in the 30s most nights and stuff. So we were using our sleeping bags and stuff. And that's why, I mean, like thinking about going back in November, I mean, like, man, like, ooh, I really want to go there when it's that cold. Like, we were cold when we were there. Just think of it going in November, but people do it. So here's another bridge.
Well, there's quite a few. How many? Would you say
Here's-
6 or 7 bridges
Yep.
total?
So here's the guides. So this is Jimmy and Anna's bag, I think. So here's their bags. So this is their porter, and here's another porter walking with two other bags. So it's just the porters. Well, they throw it on top or whatever. I don't even know what they do. I don't know where they carry their own stuff.
Would you do base camp by yourself, or are you required to have a porter?
No. It depends on, you can do it, you can carry your own stuff, and we did meet people that did that. They would backpack their own stuff up there and just do it, go to tea house, making their own reservations, or no reservations.
Or just showing up.
Just showing up, hoping there's room for them.
But there are checkpoints.
So you have to pay for permits.
Yeah, you're paying for permits the whole way as well. And we just didn't have to worry about that because our guide company's doing all that for us, knows where to go with the tea house, and really had reservations for us, which was nice, so we didn't have to worry about any of that. But people do it by themselves.
What if they can't get in,
Then they move on to the next tea house, go find another one.
Yep, or next
That's
down.
it, yep, or the next town, yep. Or go back to a
How
town,
many
or
tea
camp.
houses were there? There are tea houses everywhere,
Yeah, there's a lot.
all along the way, or?
All-
We had villages along the way, every village they just really, really crummy, low-level tea houses for, I imagine really cheap, but I was like, man, I am so glad we're not, we sometimes stopped for lunch at one of them, and you walk to go to the bathroom, and you'd find a hole in the ground, and you'd be like, the doors were just a cloth, and I'm like, and everything's dirty and filthy, and the cloth is dirty, and we're like, man, I am so glad we got decent tea houses. It made us appreciate the tea houses that we did have. We had the nicer ones.
So here's yaks. We'd have these yaks all the time, carrying stuff, passing us with yaks, and you'd have donkeys also.
A lot of times we would get, right here, we could walk past it, but most of the time we're sharing the trail, and so we'd have to stop and stand on the side and wait.
And wait for the whole yak train
Wait
to
for the
go
whole
by.
train, to get by, and we had to be careful, because they don't notice their size and their bulk.
So one of the things that our guide told us is every time the donkeys or yaks are passing you, always stand on the uphill side, because of that way you don't get knocked over. Otherwise you could get knocked off. Yeah, they just knock
If
you
you
off.
get knocked, it'll be up. and not
Yeah,
down.
exactly. They should knock you up. So this is one of the tea houses. Lunch at the tea house. Notice a lot of ramen noodles, eggs, potatoes, and the thing is, we just got so sick of the
rice,
same food over and over. Every meal was the exact same food, but at least you had food to eat, and then we were just
And
careful
what
not
was
to be
Chase
eating.
eating, cause he didn't eat ramen.
No
I
potatoes.
eggs, potatoes, or rice every meal. One of the three.
Yep.
What are you eating there?
Eggs and potatoes.
But he's happy, he's smiling.
Okay, so we went up. I guess I did put one in there, but we went up to another. Our next little town was called Dingboshe. We went up to this little town, Dingboshe.
That's where you and Jace got sick.
Is this so? This is Dingboshe, or is it? Which
No,
one's the one where
this
the
is-
monastery was? Oh, dang it! I forgot my map too. So we went up to this little town where there's a big monastery. We stayed there for a night, and then we went up to this other town where we stayed, and that was this town here.
One of my biggest regrets about Dingboshe is afterwards we found that the monastery has the skeleton of a yeti that you can pay like a few dollars to see, and we didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought we would have.
So we didn't go to
see
get
the
see
yeti.
the skeleton of the
I do have a
Yeti.
video clip of you showing the path
Yeah.
of taking the trail.
That is so. I have that.
Okay.
This is one you woke up and there was still in the next.
Yeah.
Well, so actually, when this town, we got to this town, that night we got there, and that night is when it started snowing on us. So we had snow all night, and then the next day, or that night, and this was over 14,000 feet, I think this was 14.1 or 14.2. During that night, that's where both Jason and I were throwing up, so we woke up in the middle of the night and were throwing up all night. And it was like 1 o'clock, I get up and I run down to the bathroom. We didn't have a bathroom in our room, so I run down the hallway to our bathroom and throw up in the bathroom. And actually, there was two bathrooms down at the end of the hallway. One was a regular toilet bathroom, and also the toilets aren't like regular flushing toilets. They're like toilets, like our porcelain toilets, but you do your business, and then you get a bucket of water from the bucket next to it, and you pour it in your toilet and you flush it down. It flushes down with you hand flush it. Well, that one was busy, so I was just throwing up in the next one over was a squat toilet. And I'll show you a picture of both of them, but I have, so then I'm just throwing up in the squat toilet because the other toilet's busy. So I'm throwing up in there. Then I go back to our room and Jason's like, and I slept great until that point. And Jason's like, oh yeah, I've already been up throwing up and I had diarrhea too at the same time. And I'm like, oh man. And he says, so then that whole night though, the rest of the night, we're just sitting there in the bed. And cause then actually the second time I went and ran down the hall and threw up again down the hall. Well then after that, my third time I was like, oh man, I don't even know what else I could throw up. I just rolled over in the bed and started throwing up in the garbage can. Well then Jason's like, can you pass it over here? And so I passed it up to Jason. So Jason and I are just sitting on the beds next to each other, just passing the garbage can back and forth, throwing up in the garbage can. And so then that next morning, and that was, and I felt really great until that point. No sickness or anything. I think that was straight altitude sickness. And it was just because I was over 14,000 feet, which I'd never been before. And in the middle of the night, you know, my oxygen levels, I think that next day I checked my oxygen level of 74%.
Wow. And we woke up the next morning, we found out that I had better aim with my throw up than Tyler had.
That's true. It's mostly his shoes though. My throw up on his shoes. I didn't care, it was his shoes.
Good thing that you've gotten rid of all the other end.
And at that point, we just didn't care. Like both of us were just sick as a dog, and we just didn't even care. And you're wearing the same clothes you've been wearing for the last 5 days. You know, you're seriously just, you know, you're sleeping in your clothes, and you just didn't care. So, so then that day I got up. We're supposed to go on a hike that day, and another acclimatization hike. So we're supposed to be going up for another little hike that day. But we get up in the morning and we're all ready to go on our hike, and so then our guide said, hey, you know, it's just still snowing, tons of snow. At that point, we probably had at least a foot of snow, maybe a foot and a half of snow. And so the guides are like, we just don't think it's worth going on the acclimation hike. We're just gonna take it easy and stick around in town all day.
Well,
And I
they
was like,
started, I think, and then they came back.
well, they did.
A few people.
Oh, yeah, they did. They started.
But Anna and I were just walking out the front door.
Right, right.
You guys were staying in bed.
No, I was with you going out.
Oh, you were gonna try to
Yeah,
hike?
yeah, I was going with you. But that's when they canceled us, because I was waiting for you guys.
Right, right.
And then we started going out, and then the other group came back and said, no, it's just too much snow, we're not gonna do the hike today. And so I was like, good, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
So I went back to bed. Jason was still in bed the whole time. He never got up. And then we just slept the whole day because of the snow. And Jimmy and Anna, though, went and explored the town, and there's some great videos of that. I'll show you that at the end. But they just took some great videos of the town, exploring the town. Going to coffee shops. And they're just going around to these little coffee shops in the town. It was really cool.
So Jimmy, you and Anna weren't sick?
No, we didn't get, not at that point.
Nope, they weren't sick then. So then the next day, you know, that's when we wake up and we're like, okay, we're gonna go up to the next town. And that's where we wake up and start going up this trail, going up to the next town. And that's, well, this is where we start going up. I think this is a video. No, that's the same. There's a video. So notice the axe in front of us.
So it started actually pretty clear and sunny.
Yeah.
About halfway through, it started getting really foggy and cloudy like this. So it started out, I mean, it wasn't too bad.
No, but it did get clear. It did get clear. I think there's actually some more. Oh, so here's another porter coming up.
And they have it around their heads.
Yeah. So, so here's.
How much do they earn?
Well, we're not really sure. Like, how much do you think they earn? I don't know if we ever really found out.
We never did.
Because we're paying $1,500. They're probably getting paid $50 or something for this trek. We were told beforehand that we're expected, or we should give them a tip of a 10% tip. So we're expecting to give our porter $1,500 no, $150. A porter $150 and our guide $150 tip.
And so we each did that.
Yeah, and we ended up giving them a little extra as well. Anna got here.
Anna, our hero.
But so I'm not sure how much they're getting from the guide service. They're going to get a little bit of money from the guide service. We didn't know how much it was, but they know that they're going to get at least $150 from us. But this is our,
Yeah, each.
for each.
Like $600.
No, well, it's, so we each paid our own porter. So so Jason and I gave our porter $150. We ended up giving him $200 because we just fell in love with him, you know. And you just appreciate him so much.
And you almost killed him.
And we almost killed him. We each gave him $200. So
Saved you.
our porter got $400, and their porter got $400. And then this one here was an assistant guide. So notice he's carrying one bag and his own stuff. So we had a fifth person that joined our group. We had a fifth guide, and so then this guide carried his bag by himself. So he was just learning to be a guide. So he was carrying the bag.
And so he was always he was like assisting the guide, trying to take our orders and stuff, but he knew so little English. He was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But he had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah.
He did not understand anything we were saying.
Yep.
But
So one of the things that we're
Yeah, he's
told
like
as
20
well
years old.
is the difference between a guide and a porter is the guide speaks English, right? So if you can speak English, you become a guide, right? If you can't speak English, you're a porter, and you're carrying bags. And he's just awesome. Just this young kid. Was he 20 years old? I think he's 20 years old, and he's just a guide / porter. And I'll tell you at the very end when we gave them our tips at the very end. We gave them. And the other weird thing is, so the Nepalese money was $140 to every one of our dollars, and their highest bill is $1,000 bill. So like when we were giving him money at the end, I think we gave him $60,000 if I remember right. But maybe even that was per person. I don't even remember. But so we have this money that we're giving them as their tips.
huge rolls.
And so then they're just giving this big pile of money, And they're they honestly just had never seen that much money in their life. I mean, they probably do see it every 2 weeks or something. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Everybody,
They were like a kid on Christmas morning. They were
Yeah.
so happy.
They're just so happy because we're just giving them this big pile of cash, and we're just so appreciative. To us, it's like $200. Like, thank you, dude. You just saved us. Yeah, you saved us. And then we're just giving this big pile, and so then the next morning when we're out on the way, or we're at the airport, going to the airport. So just as we're getting to the airport, our guide showed up at the airport and gave us scarves. They just gave us all these scarves and just these like silk scarves.
Yep.
No, I threw them away.
I have all mine.
I threw mine away when I got home. I showed it to my family.
I wanted to bring all our stuff, but in the middle of all moving everything, I was like, this is a disaster.
But they just were so appreciative of us being there, and to us it's not a lot of money, but to them it's that's a ton of money. So just I'm trying to think of like an example of what things cost us.
Well, I looked it up, and I guess it equivalent like 4 months worth of work for the average salary of somebody there.
Would be $200.
Because I would think that they probably don't make that trek a
Because
lot.
I think $800 is what the average annual salary.
Yes.
What is it?
$800.
$800 a year is their average.
Is their average. So to them it was a lot of money, and we knew it because they were just so appreciative of it, and everything is so
Like
cheap
one
there.
dude was like, how old do you think? 50s, 60s? Like
Yeah.
he looked.
But you're talking about our porter?
50
Yeah.
is your age.
Our porter?
50 is
I know,
your
but
age.
I know,
yeah,
but
but
it was a rough.
it's a rough 50.
And if you're doing that, carrying all that weight,
Yeah.
up there, like he
Yeah.
was.
That's why I showed
he was
you
tiny.
that very first picture of our
He's probably
porter.
130 pounds weight, his body weight,
Yeah. So this here is a different porter. This is us going up to
that.
about 15,000 feet.
Yep, we did 15,000. This town where we had
Still going.
lunch.
So this is us going up, and we're just
Our
about to
halfway
lunch.
point, or about
Yeah,
halfway
we're about
point.
to lunch on our this day we're going up to this other town. We're about to stop for lunch. We're about 15,000 feet, and this is where it starts snowing again.
So this
About
is
4 or
about
5 days in.
like above King's Peak.
Oh, way above Kings Peak, yes. I think even the 2 nights before that were above Kings Peak. I do have a picture of me. I stopped when I got to 13,530. Kings Peak is 13,528. I got to 13,530 because I was watching it. I got a picture of me standing on a rock, like the highest point I've ever got to in my life. I made these guys take a picture of me. But that was a couple days before this. So at that point, I was at the highest I had ever been. These guys I don't even know what their highest were because they weren't keeping track of their highest. So then this one here is this tea house. Okay, so this here we stopped for tea at this lunch. We stopped for lunch at this tea house, and notice we're all just quite sick. You know, like it's just like, and it's just the same food. You honestly don't even need to look at the menu anymore. You know, you've got the member. You know exactly what's going to be on the menu. Because it's the same everywhere, and you can just order whatever you want. It's the same 4 things, and you know.
And we're just watching out the window, seeing
Yep.
the snow coming down so hard.
This is where it starts snowing really hard on us.
And we're just like, oh my gosh.
So after lunch here, this is where we go back outside, and we had 2 guides because we met up with another, kind of partnered up with another
This
group.
is what Jason's gonna look like in 10 years.
Right.
10 years.
So
Looks like it now.
So we get to this, yeah. So from here, we met up as the 2 groups with the 2 guides, and this is where the guide said, hey, you know, if it's snowing this much here, we would recommend turning back and going back down. We're trying to go up another 1,000 feet today. We're already in this big snowstorm. We just don't know what it's gonna be like up higher, if there's even gonna be room for us at the tea houses, if the other groups are being able to move up or down. They're probably stuck in their tea houses. We're not sure if there's gonna be room for us. And so we would recommend going down.
And then, isn't it that point that somebody said, and base camp is now closed?
Yeah,
So
base camp is
there's-
closed.
So, even if we get to the hotel that's right next to base camp,
Yes.
the tea house next to base camp, which is what we were going to, we were going to the next tea
How
house
can
that's
the
next to
base
base
camp
camp,
be closed?
because there's so much snow, you
They
can't
won't let people up there.
They won't let anybody in.
Well, it's because there's also no rescues can happen either. And so I think it's because there was so much snow, they can't send rescue parties, so they won't let people go up further.
Yeah, so the next
But
place
there's
we're
people
going.
at Base camp, right?
What's that?
There are people at base camp
No.
already.
No.
No, base camp is in the spring, people camp
Yeah.
in the spring,
So
nobody camps in the fall.
Yep, so where we're going, base camp is
We're
not
just
being
going to get a
used.
picture.
Yeah, we're just going up to get a picture of base camp.
That's what
and
everybody's
coming
going
down.
to do, is
Oh,
going up,
okay.
get a picture,
Yeah.
and turn around, go back to that tea house that's
Yeah.
right next door.
So no one camps at base camp during the fall. So you just go up there and take a picture, and then you go back down to your tea house.
Right.
So even base camp, you're not spending the night there. It's just a day trip. You hike up to it, you're at base camp, and then you come back
You go
down.
back to that tea house that we're trying to get to at that
Yeah,
point.
yep.
So since base camp is closed, nobody's going to get their picture taken,
Mm-hmm.
so people can't, are they leaving, what are they doing, they're hanging out there? They want to get, they're so close to base camp,
Right.
so they're just gonna stay instead of going and doing, so then where are we gonna go?
Yes.
And then, what are we gonna do when we get there if we can't go to base camp? We have a very strict window in which we can get to base camp and still make it to our flight. Anna starts her first day of work at her new job as a nurse, the day she lands, like the
Yeah.
very next morning after she lands in the middle of the night. So there is no wiggle room to get back, and so we're stressing, and it's so much snow, it's a blizzard, so we can go up and risk the next few miles in a blizzard to a tea house that
You can't
everybody's
get a
stuck at,
And
or we
we're
can
gonna
turn
roof is
around.
collapsing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could be collapsing, we've heard like it's closing, and then, or we can turn around in a blizzard, cause it's blizzard, we can't stay at this tea house.
Yep.
It's not an option.
I would've
We're
gone
staying
out.
where we're at. So we had to hike in the blizzard either way.
But you were sick by then.
No,
No, I wasn't.
It's like the next
So
one.
we don't take
Yeah.
the easy
So,
route.
and so we were actually supposed to hit base camp the next day. So
Right.
the next day we're supposed to hit base camp and back to the town. So this is where we decide to turn around and start heading back down.
So this was you guys making your decision, and that's.
No, we hadn't, we were
This one.
going, we were,
Yeah.
while we were in lunch, we were going, we were telling everybody around us that we're going. It wasn't until we walked
Yeah.
outside and.
It was
in
funny
the
because
conditions-
there was someone sitting next to us. There's like a group of them sitting next to us, and we're like, and they're all talking to us like, yeah, we're still going. We heard it's good, and like we're all in there like all talking it up. And then as soon as we get out, we're like, we're gonna turn around.
Well, that's when we found
And
out.
Anna was like, maybe we should go back and tell them that we're turning around.
She's like, I feel guilty.
Yeah, so we just told these other group that we're going.
Just tell us how you feel about that. How do you feel about that?
Did
So-
we ever find out what the weather was actually like?
Yes, it was
Yeah,
much
that
worse
was
than we.
horrible.
Yeah, much worse than we thought.
We made the right decision.
Mhm.
It ended
We
up
got
being a
confirmed.
world record breaking storm.
Yeah.
So it set the record for the most precipitation ever falling in the form of snow in over a 24-hour period and over a 12-hour period.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
Ever. Since they've been recording.
Exact amount.
It was actually water amount. It wasn't
It
the
was
deep
water content
Water
of the
content.
snow.
Water content.
Because it was such wet.
But we did find out that the tea house we were going to was collapsing, and so the group from our guide service that went up the day before, they were up there the day before us. They ended up coming down that day, getting out of the tea house because the roof was collapsing. So they came down that day and met us at the place where we go down to. So they had left and come down, and then the place that we end up going to from here, we go down and we get to our tea house. The roof had collapsed in our tea house. So down below us, the roof is now collapsed. And so then they're like, okay, we're gonna go find a different tea house. And so we go down a little bit further and find another tea house that has room
Luckily,
for us.
once again, because of our guides'
Yeah.
connections, sorry, our guides' connections, we were able to get a really nice, honestly, a step
Better,
up.
yeah,
a
better
tea
tea
house.
house.
So when
But
you
we
go-
only got one night.
Yeah, yes.
And that was the stickler, is we were hoping to
Stay
to
2
stay
nights.
and maybe try to like see if the weather holds out, and maybe we could still do something if we could hold out there if the weather didn't get so bad. But we only had one night, and that's it, and that's when I got sick.
Yeah. Anything else?
At what point did you interview with the media?
Oh, so that was, okay, so while we were, it was after this, huh? Cause it
Yeah,
was,
let me tell this part, because this is my horror story. Okay? All right. So we turned around, right? We went down to the tea house. The roof is collapsed. We got an upgrade, and I actually got a shower. And so I was like feeling good. I was bummed that we got turned around, but it was never about for me hitting there. It was the adventure of going, and I was just happy that I hadn't been sick. At this point, it was. I was doing good. We were in a nice tea house, but the next morning, we had to wake up and do a 12-hour hike because we had to get out of the snow, and we needed to get to Namche. So we're skipping a town, like instead of on our way up, every about 6 to 8 miles, we stopped to get a tea house, right? Well, this time we're skipping, we're going down, we need to get out of there. Since so many people are stuck, they needed us out, and we didn't have reservations. So we just needed to get we had a 12-hour hike. And so I wasn't feeling well, I didn't eat dinner. I was feeling a little feeling a little terrible. It wasn't that bad, I was just feeling, well, I had a shower. My stomach was a little unsettled, but that wasn't unusual. It happened all the time, especially when you're eating the same food over and over. It's like, oh, I'm gonna eat, some little ramen or something, or like I had mushroom soup one time. It just because nothing sounded really good, and it was, but I didn't end up eating. And so we go to bed, and in the middle of the night, that's when I started throwing up. And then I had to go, and poor Anna's trying to be there for me, but there's not a lot she can do. And I'm just in that garbage can, just like those guys did. And just all night, but they were, according to at least what Tyler had told me, it was mostly like bile for them, and just like the nausea and the bile. For me, it was like losing it was like the flu for me. It was like,
More
just
details, Jimmy.
filling up this garbage can. Yeah, more. It was dramatic. I just want to make sure you understand how bad this night was. It was dramatic. So then we have and the whole time I'm thinking, I don't get to stay here. Like, they gotta sleep all day the next day and then spend the night and then leave. And I'm like, maybe I can talk, like maybe I can get one, like there's some way, because like there's no way then they had like a 6 to 8 6 mile hike afterwards, after 2 nights. Like, I have tomorrow morning 12 hours and no rest, and I've lost all the food that I had in my stomach, and I can't eat anything at this point. I'm still so sick. And I wake up I didn't really sleep. I didn't almost no sleep, either. And Anna's trying to help me get ready, and I'm just super slow, like just shaky, like with the flu, and you were trying to put on extra gear, right? We're trying to put on our gaiters over, just because we're walking through snow and ice.
And we're still about 14,000 feet in the
Yeah,
snow.
yeah, we're
Clothes are wet,
14,000.
you're putting on wet clothes.
We're putting on all wet clothes, wet boots, wet everything, because we just hiked back in that blizzard, nothing was dry, and I'm just shaky and trying to put on all these clothes. And I remember stepping out, and I have it on video on my YouTube, but me just stepping out, and it was a nice sunny day, but everything was frozen now. It wasn't wet snow, it was frozen, so it's super slippery. The ground is solid ice, none of us have spikes for any traction, and I just have my 2 hiking poles that I'm so grateful that I had, because Anna and I used hiking poles, and I remember stepping out and just putting like 90% of my weight. I felt like an old man, just putting my pole out first, and then just stepping forward and just leaning forward, putting all my weight like the porters do with they kept their poles low and they could keep all the weight in the back. And I just remember thinking, one step in front of the other. I just got to go. Luckily, about an hour and a half, like Tyler and Jason, they were gone. I didn't even see them the rest of the day. But Anna stayed right there in front of me. We had our main guide with me that was really attentive with me, and just really, we were really pretty close. We had gotten, because he had stayed at the back with me and Anna and got to know us really well. And he was very caring and very understanding. And he, a couple of times, offered to try to find a horse to rent, to throw me on a horse to get me out of there, because there was no helicopters coming in and stuff still. And I just remember one foot in front of the other, and once we, about an hour and a half, got out of, because we were going downhill for the first few hours, we got out of the snow and the ice, we got to solid ground, we got to, and we're going downhill, and I remember being downhill and not being so bad, because, you know, like letting gravity help me take, and then taking all the weight of gravity onto the poles, and I was able to get out of there. But the problem is in the Himalayas, it's not one giant mountain that you're hiking to the top of like you do in Timpanogos. It's these rolling mountains. So even when we're hiking up, we're going some downhill. It's just you're gradually going uphill, and this time you're gradually going downhill. And so there was 2 major uphill battles that I wasn't sure I was going to make it. I hadn't eaten, but lunchtime I was able to eat like a half a granola bar and a little bit of jerky and drink some water and rest for a minute. And so that second half, I honestly, even though it was really late, it got dark, and we're hiking with our phone lights and because my headlamp died, and we're hiking into Namche, and I remember coming down into Namche, and it was like the whole town was lit up. And
Next slide, I think, is Namche.
is it coming into it?
Give us an idea of what it was like to walk through the falling snow.
Here it
Yes,
is.
here it is.
Turn back. This is the one that made the news.
Yeah, we turn back.
So this is turning back in the snow. It's just all white out now, you know. So this is right after that tea house. We're going back down in the snow.
But it doesn't look that bad, so you didn't see
So the thing is,
It's not that.
it was total whiteout conditions, but I never thought of taking a picture when it was total whiteout, because I'm like, there's nothing to see. It would be just like
After
a
that
picture of white.
Yeah, I got a little bit, and then we had to
Hindsight, I
go
wish I
another
would have
uphill
taken a picture of
to
white.
Namche before it leveled out, and then we came down. But I got a little burst of energy and made it up that second really steep. But I went really slow, but I felt a little better, and Anna kept letting me take lots of breaks, and I made it into Namche.
So this is when Jimmy was really sick. We took a group photo. This is where we
Yeah,
were turning.
I looked really sick.
We were turning down.
Yeah.
We're turning down here. This is
Yeah,
where we split.
this is where our group split, and so we wanted to do a sun. It was beautiful out. The mountains were amazing. The sun was out, and we wanted to get one final picture with our whole group, because some of them were gonna.
That's not Everest in the background.
No,
So
these are.
that's what's weird about it, is these are small mountains. Yeah. Yeah.
When did you get interviewed?
So this is the young guide.
As assistant, this is the guy that hung back. That was our main guy that hung back with us.
Ganesh. What was his name?
Sunam.
And then this is Nima.
And he was the guide for the other group. that
So
we joined.
there's this other group is this guy, or these two were in the other group, and then this guy is the one that added on to our group, Lewis. So Lewis was from Hartford, Connecticut. She was from Australia and Brazil. And they were doing a different hike, so they were doing a different hike. They were supposed to be going a different route, but we just got so close to them, they decided to just join our
They're
group.
with you.
And so they were kind of with us. But they had 2 extra nights, so they ended up staying here at this tea house, or at least at this town, stayed here, and then they ended up getting to base camp and back down. They didn't get to do their regular hike, but because they had extra days built into theirs.
Well, the weather's so good, why didn't you go back up?
Well, we time frame, we didn't have time.
Because now we're a day behind.
We were big behind.
Tyler, so when did you get interviewed by the?
It'll come up in a second.
So after Namche, we were hoping to spend 2 nights. Namche was our favorite town, right? They had lots of shops. It was gorgeous, beautiful town on the side of a mountain. It was almost like dream. It was unbelievable. It was very surreal. That's where I left my brother's ashes out, and just we love the town. And we were told we were going to get 2 nights in Namche because we had extra nights now. And the rest of the little tea house and towns were like kind of crummy little towns with not much to see. And so we were kind of counting on it, and I was counting on it as a rest because I just done 12 hours. I'm finally feeling better. I ate dinner that night, and just as we're going to bed, they're like, sorry guys, we can't stay an extra night. The reservation, we have too many people coming down. They need your rooms, so we're gonna have to do like a short 2 or 3 hour hike after this first thing in the morning to another town, just a halfway point to Lukla. And so it was pretty bummed. We were pretty bummed because we really wanted to do some tourist shopping.
And we were supposed to spend 2 nights in Namche, but because now our schedules have got all switched and changed out, we could only do 1 night in Namche Bazaar.
Yep. And so that next morning, at least I had recovered enough. I was still really weak, but I was eating now, and I was much better spirits and things like that. And I made it through that crazy hike, and it was mostly downhill to this next one. And then when we got to that one, that's where we got contact. It was like 8 o'clock at night, and Jason was supposed to do the interview, and then he's like, I'm not gonna tell them. I'm just gonna we're just gonna surprise them with all of us. And so we found we got chairs right next to the only Wi-Fi because they have 1 box for the whole building, and everywhere else in the building it was terrible internet.
So let me tell you how this all started.
Okay, go ahead.
So I have a friend in Los Angeles who's a photojournalist. He takes pictures of crime scenes and sends them to the newspaper, and then they put them out there. Well, he found out, or he heard about the storm in Everest, and his wife says, hey, I think Jason Wardle's up there right now. So he messaged me on Facebook and said, hey, are you still on Everest? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, the media here is dying for pictures and videos. Can you send us some? So I sent him some pictures and videos. He sent them to his local news station. They forwarded them to New York, and then like an hour later, I get a message from the NBC Today Show, and then 2 hours later, I got the NBC Nightly News, and all these people wanting to do interviews. And I wasn't expecting it, so.
And I'll show you one video of that in a second. So this is just one coming down.
Who were they going to interview? They were
Jason.
going to interview me, but I didn't want to do it by myself, so.
He'd already done one interview, and I think even a phone interview as well. He's like, I kind of want these guys to be able to, have a say or be able to. And so he's like, how about you guys join me? We don't need to tell them. And so he just set it up, and they called in, and he's like, oh, I see you have other people with you.
But because it was supposed to be Jason getting interviewed, we didn't think they were going to ask us questions. So it was it took us off guard when they started asking each of us a question.
Right, they started
They
told us they weren't going to ask us. They were like, we're just going to ask Jason the questions. You guys just sit there and smile.
And so then the first question was, hey, Tyler.
So none of these scripts, we didn't know answers. They were all off the cuff.
Yeah.
They were all, and of course,
It didn't seem like that at all.
The worst question you could ask.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the interview, but I think Tyler's going to show.
No, I don't think I got it.
So the one thing Tyler said to Jimmy right before, this is 30 seconds before we go live, he says, Jimmy, whatever you do, we're on live national TV. There's no swearing. No swear words. And what's the first word that came out of his mouth? Hell no. So what you couldn't see on camera or on the camera was Jimmy slug him in the leg. Tyler slugging Jimmy.
I was Jimmy.
He was like,
Jimmy, don't swear.
Well, I mean, of all the questions to ask, right? They could have asked me your question, any of these other, I would have gave give a nice flowery answer. But they asked me, you gonna do it again? You wanna go?
It was more effective. It was more effective.
So let's keep going real quick. So I just wanted to show, this is just another funny video. We're coming down. This is the same day of the snow. So Jimmy and Anna are a little bit behind us. Me and Jason are up front. And as we're coming down, we run into all these yaks. And the funny thing with all these yak trains is, like, every once in a while one of the yaks would go off the trail or something. So then the herder's trying to find the yak or trying to get it back up on the trail. So we're coming down the trail and there's all these yaks that are stuck in the trail. And we're just stuck there, and we're just like waiting for these stupid yaks.
Tyler, can I pause?
Yeah.
Can I have Anna tell us our favorite yak story?
Okay.
Real quick, Anna, can you stand up and tell us our favorite yak story?
What is it?
About when you brought up to the guide, why are they so mean to the yaks?
So they're eating these yaks and they're like whipping them and screaming at them, like they're listening. They don't have to scream at them, but they're screaming at them anyways. And so I told my guide, I said, why aren't they giving the yaks compliments and telling them thank you for helping out? So I started feeding them carrots and being like, good job, yaks, you're doing so good. Thank you for carrying all this.
And then the guide was dying. Like, he's been doing this for 25 years, right? And he is just, he fell in love with both of us, and he was like, when she said that, she's like, why don't they call? And he's like, I mean, he's just bent over laughing. I was like, I'd never heard of such thing. They don't even think of yaks as like living beings, right? They're just for work, you know. They don't care. And so that's what came towards it on the last, third of the trek. Anytime yaks came by, both Anna and I are like, good job, yaks! And Anna's feeding carrots, and she bought some at like a little station, and she's like, because everything's so cheap, and she's like, and I'm like, good job, you guys, you're doing so great! And the ones that are leading the yaks are just giving us these looks. Like, what are you doing? But the people, the other hikers, they thought we were hilarious because we're just like, good job, you guys. And the guys just could not stop laughing every time we do that. Half of it was for fun, for our entertainment, because we're standing there bored and waiting for the yaks, and the other half is just because the guide was getting such a big kick out of it. We like to make him laugh.
I didn't know that's how it started, but I do have some good video of them like complimenting all the donkeys. Yes. And they're like, "Oh, you guys are so good." I got some video of it. It's hilarious. I didn't know that's how it started.
Yeah, that was how it started.
But so here's one. There's all these yaks are stuck here, so we're just going around. Here's an oxen traffic jam. So we have an oxen traffic jam. Yeah, we do. So we go around it. So then here's Namche at night. This is what was so cool. So that night we're coming down into Namche Bazaar, and this is we're all coming down there, and this is what it looked like as we're getting into Namche.
Yeah, for us it was pitch black, but then all lit up, got much darker. But it was amazing. Yeah, we took a bunch of pictures too.
Pretty.
Yeah,
Even at night.
it was so gorgeous. Yeah.
And you're out of the snow.
Yes. But it was only like 2 hours before we were out of the snow. The rest of that 10-hour hike, just 10 more hours and no snow. It was honestly, there was no rain either. Everything was wet from rain, but there was no snow. It was really it was a beautiful, great hike out. It was really just me dealing with trying to recover in that long hike.
So us, Westerners, we're going slow, whatever. Here's my porter, mine and Jason's porter, passing us.
And he was like the 70.
And they're at the front.
He's like, "There's a porter passing us." Like, so we're just hiking along, and all of a sudden our porter just passes us, carrying all our weight. Right?
They got rid of all the extra stuff they had.
Yeah. He's
move on.
just
He's
keep
got
going.
lots, yeah, he's got tons of stuff.
Was it at the same time on the other side of Everest where all the people were dying?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if they were dying, were they? There was a few deaths, but
I think there were.
I looked into it when I got home because I was really curious about it. There was a lot of people stranded, but the difference between our base camp and that base camp is their base camp has a road that you take buses, it's tour buses, you pay, drive to base camp, and they just got caught off guard with a huge snowstorm, And so they couldn't drive the buses, they couldn't get out, so they're all stuck in their buses at base camp, unable to get out of there with no resources to and so they're just stuck there. But it's more of a tourist attraction for them
The
to
only
drive
mess
up.
that we're aware of was there was 4 people from India that were up with us that part of the trail gave away and they got swept away in the river.
They were down lower in the rainy area. So where we were in the snow, there was rainstorms down below. And I don't think I have that in here, but there were a lot of places where the trail was washed out.
So when we
quite a
came,
few
when we came
videos.
down, we had to take a little bit different route coming down because part of the trail by the river got washed away. And
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's probably where they were at when they got swept away.
So,
But-
yeah.
Did they find him? You don't know?
They don't get news
The other thing that was really nice, Anna, do you want to tell them what you found? So Anna got blisters all around her, under her nose, like a blister mustache, and it was like her face, and because she had sunglasses on, but she went and was looking in Namche that night, or the next morning before we left, because they.
I went that night.
What was that night? She went and found a little pharmacy place and was talking to them about different aloe or to put on, and she was telling them what happened, that she'd been up near base camp and we didn't expect, to get sunburned that badly. What did they tell you, Anna? What they found out?
She said that there was 3 women up there that didn't wear sunglasses and they were blind. They had to be helicoptered out to the medical center because they were blind in at least one eye.
Yeah, because of the sun. And we didn't realize it, we didn't feel like we were in that sunny of weather ever.
It didn't
But
feel that sunny.
But we do, and I think there's a picture of it in here as well, but we did find someone else that wasn't wearing gloves and they had a big blister.
So that's what mustaches and beards.
Yeah, really, I think that's what helped protect us.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and that's how I was. I had a beard, and my sunglasses, I was a little bit burnt just above my beard line here, just had a little bit of burnt above my beard. Probably is the same way, but you just didn't realize you were in the sun.
We're just so high intense at that altitude.
That altitude.
So here's some toilets.
This is pretty common.
So you notice, so this is just what a squat toilet looks like, and then a regular toilet.
Is that just to accommodate different?
Yeah, I think because it's so common. There's 40,000 people that do the hike every year.
So there's a lot of Chinese, a lot of Asian, and that's really common in Asian.
So when I was telling you about down the hallway, when I was throwing up in the middle of the night.
Oh, this is much nicer.
Yeah, this is down low.
Yeah,
So this is nice.
these are nice ones. Very nice. Anna found one where she was so desperate. It was like a farmhouse, and she's like, "Can I use your bathroom?" And she came back and was like so scared because there was just spider webs. It was a hole.
Yeah, it was pretty terrifying.
So this just
This was the nice one where we did the interview.
Yep. Oh, I wanted to show this one. This is my favorite. Me being the nice cousin, I had to help both Jason and Jimmy out, and I put rocks in their backpacks, so they carried rocks for a little bit of it. Jimmy got a big one.
You bashed him over there.
That's pretty ticked.
All I know is when he dropped that rock, the ground shook. He was not happy.
That was not a real grin. That was a fake smile right there. You can tell. There was no smile in my eyes.
So this is just back in Kathmandu.
This was our favorite cafe.
We go to this little cafe, and Jimmy was, it was called the Avocado Cafe.
And I'm like,
Warmer by then.
Yeah. So Jimmy's like, can I just buy an avocado straight? And they're like, sure. We'll say anything, I'm sure. And so they brought him an avocado.
and then it was like this big.
Then yeah, big old avocado.
And I was like, I just want an avocado. It was so good. Yeah, very sweet.
So then the other funny thing is, so Jason and I decided to go to church. So we reached out to the local church, and they had church on Saturday instead of Sunday. And so like, yeah, we have church at 10 o'clock. So we ended up going. We told everybody that Jimmy was just too lazy and was sleeping in. That's what I called him.
That's what I always say.
But so the funny thing is that so we went to this little branch. There's 29 million people in Nepal, and they have one branch of the church. And so we got to go to it. And the funny thing is, so there's one kid in here. I think he's right here. See this kid wearing the baseball hat? He's wearing a baseball hat.
Yeah.
He was one of the priests who was blessing the sacrament. So he's up blessing the sacrament. He's got his hat on. But we figured it was a BYU hat, so it was okay.
There's more people in here than there was at that church.
Yeah. So this is us going to church on Sunday. It was a lot of fun.
The interesting thing about church was they're in the process of retranslating the Book of Mormon into Nepalese, and so they had a guy from church headquarters. They asked all the members to stay after church, and then they were each gonna be assigned so many chapters to read, and then they could check and see if there were any errors.
Checking for the translation.
Translation errors.
is correct. And so it was what we did for church. It was the week after conference, so they ended up watching conference for church. And we watched it in Nepalese. So this is me recording it in Nepalese.
That was our whole church is listening to that.
But it was cool because I just felt like there was one branch of the church. So I mean, like 50 members of the church there, and yet the church is translating it into Nepalese. So they're listening to a conference in their own language. Really cool. And it was actually one of their branch members that had come to headquarters and had done the translation. We kind of talked about that.
And it's really cool to be a member of the church when you can go anywhere in the world and immediately have family, people that are gonna love you.
So this is us taking a picture with them afterwards.
Wow.
So, with some of the branch members.
Why were they watching conference?
But I think that was because they were watching it, it was probably downloaded, I don't know, they're watching it.
And they're on
next week.
Saturday.
Well, and they get tired of probably the
following
same people speaking in church every week, so that this is something different.
Yeah, it was just their way of, instead of watching conference on
Your turn.
conference, they're watching it following.
No, I did it 2 weeks ago.
Here's the news, if you didn't see this. You'll recognize these videos.
Oh, yeah.
Give up their trek to Everest Base Camp.
Is that you?
Yep, that was him on the national flag.
So, that was on the news. That's what one of my coworkers sent that to me and was like, is this you? And I said, I don't know, I haven't seen it. And they're like, said, it sounds like you in the background. I said, I think that is me. So on our way back, so on the way there, we flew from Seattle to Doha, but we flew across Canada, right? You fly east going there. Well, on the way back, we wondered how we were gonna get back to Seattle. We ended up flying over the North Pole. And so this is a picture about supposedly directly over North Pole of what it looked like over the North Pole.
Where's the pole?
The sun never set or anything. Santa's down there. That's where the North Pole is. So this is just over the North Pole someplace. And the sun never set on us. So as we're flying over, the sun never set. It was really cool watching it, but it's just a picture of that. So. Oh, I didn't put the
If you
picture.
go to TK Olson, it's right there, you can click on the link. Go to yours, yeah.
I don't have Yahoo on here. That's the problem. But I will show you. So here's Jimmy's YouTube channel. So Jimmy, if you did
JW Knight 31.
Oh shoot. Well,
Barrett.
Trying to do something.
Hijacking, go ahead.
But so Jimmy was wearing a GoPro the whole time, and so videoing
national
it.
holiday here in China, so the trails were particularly busy when this storm hit. Yes, hikers will reach certain altitudes, 60 way up the mountain. So altitude sickness and changing weather conditions are still very much factors. Chinese rescue teams are known for being organized and being able to scale up. But on the Tibet side, the roads only go so far. So the rescuers are going up on foot. They're using yak.
Where you guys are right now and just what these last 2 days have been like for you.
So that's what it is.
Well, the last 2 days just been coming down the mountain. It was a little bit miserable at first, but we've been getting warmer as we're coming down. We're in a little town called Pat Dean right now, in a little tea house.
It's not really cold.
So we just have a little warmth area.
Something like that. It's like very close to this
A
one.
little tea house that we're in right now.
I bet tea has never tasted so good to warm you guys up. Jason, talk about that decision when you realized you just needed to turn around and not go any farther. What played into that decision?
Yeah, so we just kept hiking up. It started out as raining, we were hiking, and it was just fine. but it turned into snow, and we like, you know, we prepared to deal with a little bit of snow. You know, that's to be expected. We knew the weather could change on a moment's notice, so we were prepared for that. So we going up, and we got to about 6 miles from the Everest Base Camp, and then we started hearing reports of some people that had come down saying, "Don't go up. It's really bad up there. People were stranded." The tea house that we were planning on staying in, the next one, we heard reports that the roof was starting to collapse under the weight of the snow. We're from Utah, and so we're used to the greatest snow on earth, the heavy, or the really light, powdery snow. So this was a heavy, dense, cement-like snow that just collapsed in a lot of the roofs of the little tea houses, the little hotels. And so we just heard of that. We didn't want to add to the misery that was already happening, and so we made the wise decision to turn around and go back down to lower elevation.
And no doubt you're grateful for making that decision. I mean, Anna removed the blizzard, and it's hard enough to do some of these climbs. I mean, the altitude alone can make it tough. Talk about how you and just all the other hikers have managed to stay safe so far.
Honestly, I really chalk it up to we hired amazing guides. We had amazing guides with us, and they were in communication with people from farther up the whole time and farther down. And they really were the ones to make the final call. They left it up to us, but they did make the final call. We don't recommend going out far here, and so we are lucky we turned around when we did. I feel like if we would have gone up any further, we would have been stuck up there a while, like all those other hikers.
Jimmy, what's next for y'all? Do you think you'll return anytime in the near future?
Hell no.
It was an adventure. It was a lifetime experience that I'll never forget, but it's something I never want to go through again. It's something I'll never forget, and it's something that will always bind us as friends, and being able to go through something so traumatic together, but ultimately overcoming it and seeing it as a precious memory we'll always value.
Yes. So you can go to Jimmy's YouTube page, just Jim Knight, JW Knight 31 is his link. And then you can go on there and you can see all the videos.
I have quite a bit of the stuff we talked about.
Oh, thank you. Can I have it?
We'll be signing autographs afterwards.
Is there any merch?
Please like, subscribe, and share.
No, not right now. Not right now. You want to control it? Wait until a minute and you can control it.
You only have 8 subscribers.
So anyway, you can go on there and watch a lot of videos. I've been watching them all and they're great. The video is excellent and they're just fun videos.
How many watches have they gotten?
Not many.
A couple. One view. That's me. One view. That's one.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like I'm sharing it. I just sent it to these guys and said, hey, if you want to see the videos.
I've watched them all, so I know those 1 views are me. This one has 3 views at least.
Even Jimmy didn't watch it.
That was never the intent, of course. There's not any editing, there's no music, it's literally just raw, very raw footage.
I don't know if you want Jimmy very raw.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
There's some, Anna and I, one of our favorite things that we did that was different than most of the other hikers that really helped us on the hike is we went against recommendations and carried a little rechargeable Bluetooth speaker. And for us, listening to music and it really kind of helped.
Jimmy, don't cry.
And for everybody else, it just annoyed them.
So we just, honestly, we kind of were, people would hike with us and dance with us, and we were dancing our way up the mountain, singing along. We got a lot of people singing with us, and it was a very positive thing. I was a little, I was wary, kept it low at first, but when I saw how positive people were and how much fun they were having, because it's a long, trudging hike, and that's one of the reasons I don't like long hikes. I typically am a 4 mile is my limit. when I go hiking with my friends.
And he didn't train longer than 4 miles.
Mostly, I mean, I did some, but we did. But most of our hikes were around 4 miles because that's about, at that part, it turns into trudging. And I'm not a big fan of it. The music really helped lift the spirits. I also had I bought a Utah flag and wore it as a cape on the hike. And so
see it because he's taking the video.
I'm always on the video, taking the video, but I'm wearing a cape, and so throughout, sometimes in the videos, you'll actually see people saying, "What's that flag? What's that flag?" And I'm always like, "Utah," and then they give me a blank stare. United States, U.S. state. And they're like, "Oh, okay," because it was, I'm the only one wearing a flag as a cape on the mountain, so I got a lot of attention for that, and I don't like attention, so. But, I don't know, that was a couple of the fun things that Hannah and I did that really helped. And then also getting to know our guide was really fun. And we got to be really close. He actually took me one time on the way down in one of the tea houses, one of our last tea houses. He waited for me to go to the back room, and he took me into like where the porters and guides hang out, and served me some super hot curry chicken. And I took a bite of it, and there was bones in it. And I'm like, oh, I'm like trying to shoot, there was almost very little meat, and it was covered in super hot curry, and I'm trying to nibble, and I'm like, what are you, and he reaches out and pops in, crunch, 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 and they eat the bones. I'm like, I don't know if I can eat the bones, and he just laughs, and he thought it was funny. I'm over here nibbling on the chicken. It was really good. And then he waited for the kitchen, the host, came over with a pitcher and poured me a drink, and it was
Rice wine.
Rice wine, homemade rice wine they made in their stove, and poured me a little bit of rice wine, and it was like drinking rubbing alcohol. It was, yeah. I don't know what burned more, the curry or the wine, the rice wine. But it was neat because I got to kind of see an area, and I felt like it was his way of showing me that there was an extra bond, something special that he was doing for me that he doesn't normally do for the average people. No. No, he didn't have a GoPro. He had an imitation GoPro, and I tried using it hiking, but he doesn't have stabilizer built into it. GoPros do. So if you're staying still, it's fine. It's a beautiful image, but if you're walking, it's bouncing everywhere. And mine, you'll see, it's actually pretty smooth and level, and I'm hiking, I'm bouncing everywhere, so it really stabilizes it. Dancing. Yeah, and dancing a lot of it and stuff too. But anyway, I thought that was a really special moment that I really got to enjoy, even though I didn't like necessarily what they were serving me. I appreciated the moment that he was trying to show me, that we're special. And I think he thought our group overall was a special group. I'm sure, especially when the hammer was on. Because not everybody tips great.
All right, Tyler, give us some closing remarks.
Yeah, we've been talking.
It was a great adventure. We had lots of fun. We're still alive, and we probably won't do it again, but we might.
Tyler keeps talking into it.
If I can find someone to go with.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go, Tyler's up for it again. We told him flat out no. Yeah, he'll solve it. Yes, they tell us. And we added one night on the beginning and the end. She just graduated from nursing school, got hired, had a start date that was a hard start date that she had to spend $700 to change it, $800 to change her flight so she could still take the job. So she actually had to take that extra day off to be able to take this job.
A day early.
So she flew without us a day early.
And then tell what happened with her first day.
She just went to training for like a 2-hour
Oh,
training.
one day and then the rest of the week was Zoom sitting at home. Yeah. But she's loving it. West Valley Hospital. She's in the L&D labor and delivery, you know, like with all the babies and birth and stuff. So her dream job. She's loving it. Doing great. And we just moved in together yesterday.
Crowd knows.